Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Today, we are going to traverse the coastlines of ancient Britain, examining the architecture which once lined the magnificent landscape that millions today call home. In this video, we will browse the greatest coastal cities of Britain, viewing the first photographs ever taken on their shores and off the coasts of their beaches. Remarkably, these photographs come to us from the mid 1800s, dated from roughly the 1850s through the end of the 1880s, before being officially published in one of the earliest photographic books of England, established by the enigmatic Francis Frith. For a deconstruction of Francis's narrative, he is said to have been born in England as a Quaker in the year 1822. By the 1840s, Frith had graduated schooling and was assembling a small career in cutlery. However, following the discovery of photography and the photographic process, Frith was said to have suffered a nervous breakdown before completely shifting careers and focuses and becoming England's most famous photographer of the 19th century. Again, read between the lines here, but Frith's photographic company produced more than 330,000 unique negatives across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Therefore, Frith is considered to have been the most productive photographer of the 19th century, with the largest collection in the world at that time. All of this was conducted according to the narrative to fulfill Frith's desire to photograph every town and monument of value in England, a feat which then extended to the greater parts of Europe and the rest of the world. Francis's goal was to photograph everything, which then brings us to these amazing photographs today. The majority of Francis Frith's career was spent traveling to remote locations and producing the first images of their monuments ever taken, to then be shared with the rest of the world. Through this process, Francis Frith was able to not only introduce the world to numerous countries and monuments that previously had been the thing of legend, he substantially improved the economies of these locations, generally opening up the areas for other travelers, vacationers, and souvenir chasers, with his outstanding photography defining society in the mid 1800s, especially in Europe. The hundreds of thousands of dollars Frith made from taking, producing, and publishing the most advanced photographs of the 19th century almost immediately went back into his business and would fuel Frith to continue his travels to more obscure and remote locations. However, his collection of Britain, the first endeavor he pursued, may be his finest collection of them all. The coastal cities of Britain have long been the entryway for other nations into this magnificent country. Their fortifications are only amplified by the journalistic approach Frith took while documenting these locations. While this collection was published just a few years before Frith's death, a majority of these photographs can be dated to the 1850s and the 1860s, making them the first images ever taken of these cities from directly off the British coastline. The immense fortifications are as majestic in these original images as they look today, and even more shocking than the high detail of these nearly 170-year-old images is the fact that many of them show an abundance of defensive structures. The forts, the star forts, are run down, a weathered reminder sitting on the coast of Britain of a time long past. And yet through the images of Frith, these abandoned structures, these abandoned fortifications begin to come back to life. Through the photography of Francis Frith, the British Empire was able to further extend its stranglehold on the knowledge that was being established about the history of many ancient towns and cities. Through the photography, the British had the ability to label the history as they saw it, making Frith more of a catalyst of change than a cataloger of the past. However, the one aspect of the history which can never and seemingly will never be changed are the original negatives from the mid-1800s, our first real glimpse and possibly only true insight into the inner workings of 19th century England. As Christopher Lee once put it, this Sceptered Isle is one of the most mysterious in all of the world, but I believe through the first photographs of England's coastline, we can begin to decipher a centuries-long code. We can begin to see the truth.